All right, Falcons at Bengals. Let's go. World of Matchups is back, week 7. We're going to break this one down. Falcons at Bengals. We really don't have a great slate this week, but I like this game, Spencer,
It's
because
exciting.
it's exciting for one. It's 2, 3, and 3 teams, and the Bengals, after really starting slow, have started to come on. They've won me a couple bets. They've covered versus the Ravens. They covered last week at the Saints. Those are 2 big wins. We were just talking about the ascension of Joe Burrow. They're starting to protect him a little better. But for me, it's really more about the Falcons here. The Falcons are the cover kings, man. This team, you want to make money, take the Falcons. And every time I have shit on them, they have covered that number. They've covered every number this year. And I think Marcus Mariota is not a good NFL starting quarterback. They are hurting, man. They lost Cordarrelle Patterson. Kyle Pitts has done absolutely nothing, even though he finally scored his first touchdown. Drake London has been average when everybody thought he would be what Chris Olave is right now. Look, 6.5 at home is a decent amount of wood to lay. I do think that Cincinnati is better than the Falcons at 3-3 with that same record. I don't like 6.5 here just because one of these days I have to get on the Falcon train. And I've just seen this team so many times, man. The Tampa Bay game, like a lot of games last year where they're like down 17 in the fourth quarter and they're getting 7. And all of a sudden they lose the game by 3 points. They don't win, but they cover like crazy. They are the cover kings of the NFL. They're the backdoor cover kings of the NFL. I don't think Cincinnati is as good as they were last year. Their defense, to me, is not as good. They don't protect Joe Burrow the way they need to. While they are coming on strong, Jamar Chase gets off the schneid last week. I just think 6.5 is too much wood to lay against a team like Atlanta, who always covers. And now Marcus Mariota has played well. I thought it would be Desmond Ridder time by now, and that's just not been the case. He's been using his legs. I think the Falcon defense is slept on. AJ Terrell will have his hands full with those wideouts, but they get to the quarterback, man. Grady Jarrett's a pretty good player. And so I am taking the Falcons. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I don't think Cincinnati is good enough to be favored by 6.5. They're good enough to be favored by 3.5, 4. So I'm going to take the Falcons, and I think they're going to lose a 1 or 2 point game here. Cincinnati will win their 3rd straight at home. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I have a feeling that this is going to be a blowout for the Bengals. The only reason I say that is besides they have a very high-powered offense, that's a given. They have the archetype for the mobile quarterback in their playbook because they play against the best mobile quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. So they have the defensive schemes. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of adjustment, but you know what I mean. Like they feel like they have what they need to do to contain an offensive system like that. So that's a huge advantage for the Bengals because the advantage for the Falcons almost every week is that it's very erratic. You don't know. It's kind of
just don't
not
know
a
what
wild card offense necessarily.
Don't even know what it is. It's just a bunch of guys going. Yeah. It's like you go out 5 yards, you run this way, you block.
Yeah. And it works for them. But I think that they're going to face a team that has probably seen it all in one way or another. And I think that if you can, I say force Marcus Mariota to pass. The guy was like 15 for 16 last week or 14 for 15, something crazy
great,
like that.
Man.
He looked good, but I just don't think it's going to be as good for him this week. AJ Terrell on Jamar Chase, that's going to be a good one. But then, we already talked about it, Tyler Boyd. And, you just have so many weapons after that I just don't know if they're deep enough to cover those guys. So this is a great matchup for my fantasy team having Joe Burrow, as my starting quarterback.
They have to blitz Joe Burrow.
They do. And that's the key every week, right? I mean, when you play the Bengals, you get to Joe Burrow, you got
to get to Joe Burrow, man. No other quarterback I've seen this season gets rattled more when they get hit. Joe Burrow in a rhythm, look out, you're going to get carved up. But if you touch Joe Burrow, if you get around him, if you have him here in footsteps, he gets happy feet, man. And that one ball that will sail just a little bit or be a little underthrown, that makes the difference. A lot of these routes with those receivers, they're timing routes, man. And so I expect Arthur Smith to throw the house at him and take their chances. If they get burned, so be it. You can play a lot of cover 2 shell versus them, but I would go after Joe Burrow. I just think for some reason here, I think that Atlanta's cover magic, it will continue here. Look, force feed Kyle Pitts. Give Kyle Pitts the Gronk treatment. He is a mismatch of insane proportions, but they just don't give him the love that he deserves. Now, a lot of it is he's still raw and immature, but I don't think anybody on that defense can check Kyle Pitts in the middle of the field. And for him to have 2 touchdowns in his career after him being so, everyone hyped him up so much coming out of college. He's got 2 touchdowns in 2 years. That's insane.
Yeah, that's
Feed
nuts.
this guy the ball. I mean, there was more hype on him than there was like Jeremy Shockey coming out of college. Jeremy
Yeah,
Shockey
he was like a
produced.
prodigy coming out. That was the
You
draft
have
profile.
he's the biggest weapon on your team. You have to get Drake London involved. Those cornerbacks in Cincinnati aren't great. Eli Apple's still there. He's burnable. I think this is closer than you think. They got good special teams in Atlanta. I'm going to hop on that train, but I do hear what you're saying. If Joe Burrow gets in a rhythm and that O-line holds up, it could also be
Yeah, I
31-3.
see this as a 35-24 type of game.
I'm taking the points. World of matchups is here. That's your breakdown for this game. Bet with your heart, folks. Bet with your mind, folks, whatever you choose to do. But I'm taking the Falcons because history says they cover every single week. Let's roll.